Hello? 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 Yo. Yo. I bought. No, I didn't buy that. No, I didn't buy that. No, I didn't buy that. I was looking for a camera though.
Hey there guys, Ishak from Shetik here.
I don't want to do that, it's too much work. Nope, didn't buy that. I bought this. I'm like, fuck it. I don't think this is, 820, 1080p HD, it's good enough. I mean, on this it's like $70, but it's definitely, obviously an old model, but whatever. Can't be that bad. Thanks. Ooh. Well, I thought I had COVID this morning, but I messed up doing the test and I spilled the liquid. So then the test didn't work, but now I'm too lazy to actually get another test. But I feel fine now, so. I think I was just sleeping with some allergen near me. Because I wasn't sleeping in my normal spot. I should fill this water. I want to get another monitor. I should just get a cheap one, honestly. It'd be smart to just get a cheap one. Like what if I search monitor on eBay? But I want it the same, I want it 27 inch, though. That's the one thing. Because my monitor I have is 27 inches. You know what else is 27 inches? A ruler. Oh! No, not that. Those aren't 27 inches. Those are 12. Wow. I was thinking of a meter stick. Oh! That's not even in. Oh, yardstick. Oh! Okay. Dang. Life is difficult. Gaming widescreen. No, thank you. Just give me a cheap one. Like this. No, not cheap enough. Like that. No. What the fuck? So how did you get lucky on newly listed? Like this one. Jesus. What? I'm gonna stop having caffeine in the morning for a bit because I just had an energy drink in the morning many days in a row, and I've never been addicted to caffeine, and I don't think I will be because I just don't have the caffeine and I'm okay after like 30 minutes. Whatever. Oh. No, okay. I want used. I don't care if it's new. Used $10. Like, I want this shit. What? Ugh. I'll pay $50. 51. Okay. I might actually go for this thing. No, I shouldn't do that. .27" 2K, 170 hertz. So it's better than my current monitor. No. I will say, with the monitors that big like these, I kind of think I should get like a 4K. But I really don't care. I think this is still going to be my main monitor. Unless I win. I might actually really go for that. I'll pay like $200 for that. No stand. Without stand. Okay. Ugh, $30. Gross. Nasty. Yeah, I need a fucking stand. I mean, this actually isn't that bad, honestly. People are sleeping on this range. Let's go. Okay. No stand, horizontal lines, no adapter, no screen, no pixels, 0.2K monitor, 140p resolution monitor. I might just buy I mean, it's $70. I mean, a monitor costs money if I want. Ooh. No stand. Fuck you. I want shipping, boy. I'm not coming to your house. Okay, if it says read, you just might as well not even look. It would show like PS5 for only $90, and then in the read description, parts only, case only. CD drive only. Alright, let's check out these ones. Hey, this is a good price. Oh wait, no it's not. Okay, I don't need ultra great resolution for a second monitor. Honestly. 60 hertz, right? Yeah, I'm just saying that I need a bad monitor. I don't want a good monitor. This is the second one. I just like having two. This is for the main one's for the doing, the other one's for the looking. Would it be smart? And then after that, I'd probably get a high refresh rate, but average viewing, and then a low refresh rate, but like 8 or 4K. That would be the expensive monitor. Okay, what's the stats on? What's the stats? Then we need to look on a tutorials. What I was gonna do. What? I don't understand what that means. Is that 75 hertz for refresh rate? I like high refresh rate. I'm a fan of that. I might get this one. Is they have returns? Okay. I pay for returns. I mean, that's okay. 76, probably $77 in total. For this 27-inch. Kind of a bad scratch, I'm gonna be honest, but doesn't really matter. Last one. Yeah. Where's your refresh rate? mean, if it doesn't say, it's gotta be 60. Ooh, actually, I might get this one because the bezels on the side are small. I kind of don't want bezels. Okay, they're actually pretty average. They're not, the visuals are not striking on this, I'm sorry. Yep, 60. I think the other one was 60 because I think that was referring to another thing where I saw that. Yeah. Oh, kind of like how it looks, honestly. Yeah, power. Do you have the cords? Comes with the cord, right? Look at that. The bezels on the side are really small. Includes power cord. Hey, nice. Fuck it. Oh, I could buy 2. Oh my god. The shipping doesn't change. Maybe I should buy 2. Nah, I should not buy 2. I mean, maybe I should. I mean, I would be very happy to have 3. Well, I could get 2 27-inch monitors for under $100. Man, it'd be like save $2. It's more than $2 unless the shipping's doubled. If the shipping's doubled, I'm not going to do that. The only reason is because the shipping doesn't double. Because the shipping is what's the price. The shipping makes the price. So it's like getting a buy one get another for like $22.50. No thanks. I'll protect them myself. Oh yeah, $22.50 adds up. Wait, what? Hey. That's not supposed to cost that much. Oh, wait, it doesn't. Yeah, under $100 for 2 27-inch monitors. Hey. I'm not trying to get the best one. Fuck it. I have the phones for that. Oh, I need to look at Kirby plushes for like 30th anniversary. Hey, fuck it. This is good. Under $100. Let's do it. Honey is currently applying deals. Oh, now it's over $100 for the tax. Unless one of these codes works. Which I highly doubt it will because they never work. Worth a shot, though, you know what I'm saying? Worth a shot. Oh. Nope, didn't work. Second last one. Nope. No, none worked. Let's try my signature strategy. Typing thank you in the code box. Because that worked once. I literally randomly wrote thank you. And it gave me a % off. Nope. Okay. $101 for 2 months. I ended up buying more, but awesome. That's crazy. I just bought 2 monitors. Now I need a desk. Those don't even fit on my desk, by the way. I need to get a new desk. But I could just use one and have one for when I could use it eventually. Na 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 na. Close these tabs. I think I should. And I'll add the. Let me clear out my tabs real quick. Ooh. I might read this. I don't need to buy this.
Assembly from beginner up to
God.
Chuck Norris by SolidWorks Tutorials.
Assembly, assembly, assembly.
What the fuck?
SolidWorks assembly.
Now, if you don't mind, open up your cracked version of SolidWorks, which you probably downloaded via torrent. I'm just kidding. Of course, you purchased your license legally and paid $8,000. Before we do anything, I have created the parts that I'm going to use in this video, and the download link is in the description below. So get your ass over there and download them first, so we can get it over with together. Assuming you paused the video and did so, let's finally begin. Knowledge of assembly. So, just so you know, this is the assembly, okay? So, on the left part, the property manager is waiting for you to choose the part. So you can do that by clicking on this browse over here. Let's just do that and bring our case by double clicking on it. But before I click anywhere on this, and you see, I don't. So you can use the concentric version.
I've already watched that video, to be honest.
Need to do.
Hello. Watch this. This is for troubleshooting for shit in the past. Basic grid. Yep. I don't need this. I think I wanted to favorite this. Excuse me. Okay. Jesus Christ. People.
Inspire. Well. By let.
That's funny. Yeah, there was a song. There it is. Fuck. What are these pictures?
Colorful Flowers by Tokyo Music Walker.
Okay. This is a great first song.
Over You
Yeah.
by Och.
Hey. This is my favorite song.
A Magical Journey Through Space
What the
by Leo
fuck?
Casio.
He's wearing that? Jesus Christ, 2022. Yes.
Pixel Pig by D. Young.
Hey,
Free Range by Mona Wunderlich.
Oh.
The Clock Instrumental by Ryujin.
I want to do that. Totally interested in that. What the fuck did I search
First
that?
Light by Och.
Fixed.
Summer Vibes by Mike Leet.
Oh, someone said this in the video. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I was like, what the-
Mitsubachi by Smith the Mister.
Whoa. The bass. This didn't work, by the way.
Overthinking Instrumental by Ryujin.
Hey! Drop it. Drop it. Drop it. Just...
Underground Stars by
My name is Jeremy Brown.
Lockspeeds.
I'm an application expert here at MLC CAD System. Basically, what an application expert is just a super nerd. On my last job, I
super nerd.
designed machines that made
Got a little
artificial
super
DNA
nerd.
for drug research. Those machines are
Nerd
actually
alert.
put through their paces now.
Fallen Kingdom
If you're
by
counting
Silent
children in that
Crafter.
picture, that's 3. Yeah, sleep is not a thing, especially when we're all at home. Everyone, all tension. This is exactly what I need, except you'll
I
see
watched
that
this
our
video.
curves is going very
They're not
prismatic.
good.
Fly Away
watch this.
by Rex Lambo.
Welcome to Week 3. Very happy you guys are joining me. My name is Steven Petrock. And I'm from Fort Lauderdale,
By
Florida. I
Two
work for
Backer.
China. And we're here for 60 tips in 60 minutes. This is one of my favorite videos.
Number 1.
It's a very fast presentation. I'm going to throw a lot
Yeah, this
at you. You're going to get more
Good
than
looks.
60, by the way. Okay? But it's going to be a lot of tips coming at you. I can't do
3.5
that many
million.
tips and also include some context around it. So they're really direct to the point, just showcasing what these tips, what these tricks are.
Let's watch.
Now there's a couple of reasons
Let's
why
learn.
something might wind up in this. Either it's a what's new enhancement that a lot of people might have missed.
Pet
or
rock.
It's just genuinely a time-saving tip and trick. And the third reason
That
I
was
put these
designed.
things in here is because I find that people are accidentally doing some things, or maybe
Can you
think
talk
that
faster?
the software is, this, something weird's happening, and I
have the
explain
patience
why,
for this.
so then you can use these things deliberately in the future after you take note of them, okay?
Okay.
This is the breakdown of the presentation, so you guys can know.
33% of the tips are
breaking this up here. This
sketching.
is more or less the order,
32%. Why did
using SolidWorks and navigating
loves
around it,
charts.
sketching parts.
Talk
and
about a
assembly.
super nerd.
So that's going to be the breakdown.
Now
If you
this
guys
is a
want,
super nerd.
shoot me an email, hang out after, talk about it with
Shoot me an
if you have any
email.
questions. If you stop me in the middle of the presentation, I'm happy to answer it, but then
Bro,
take the
how long did
responsibility
this
of going
take?
over on
It's
time,
crazy.
Okay?
Oh, that's
So.
useful.
We'll get started. So, tip number 1, this is called the options search.
Thank you.
When you call us at tech support and we start to
Don't know
look through to tell you where some
Right.
options are, we don't have that stuff memorized. We use
I
this
cannot
all of
focus
the
on this.
time. It's a really quick way
That's
to
the thing
find
about tutorials.
system options and your
Cannot
document
fucking
properties.
focus
And
on
as you type them in there, they dynamically appear. So you don't need to commit to memory anymore where these options live in your system options.
What
and your document
is a
properties.
terrible
So let's
tip?
take a look
Everyone
at
knows
this.
that.
We hit the gear icon, we go up to our search options, and we just start typing.
Porno.
And as you start typing,
What? It's not there.
results start to dynamically appear. You can scroll through them, and it takes you directly to your options. So, not just system options, but document properties as well. It's a great thing to keep in your bag of tricks to go through and say, hey, where is that option? I remember I saw it, a year ago, 2 years ago, yesterday. Where is it, right? So that's the options search. Repeat last command. There is a way to access this through the edit menu, but if you just hit the enter key, it'll go back and do the exact same thing that you just did. So it's a quick way to add dimensions or use a sketch tool or a feature command, right?
Oh, how useful.
So here, I'll add a smart dimension to this. And instead of grabbing smart dimension again, I'll just hit enter. So hitting enter brings you right back into that last command that you were just doing. It works not just for sketching, but features as well. Here I'm doing a split line, and I want to do it again. I just hit enter. I keep going back in there. It's a quick way to reuse a command.
I didn't see what you
So
did.
that's the enter as well. Here I'm doing a split we're just doing. It works not just for sketching, but features as well. Here I'm doing a split line, and I want to do it again. I just hit enter. I keep going back in there. It's a quick way to reuse a command. So that's the enter.
Oh.
Force rebuild. This is a top secret trick that we use when we're teaching classes or on tech support when someone says,
secret.
hey, my model's not
Wait.
working right, something's not
I
going
get to
right.
know it?
And then you
Oh,
guys,
I get to know the
you
top
understand
secret
this,
trick.
right? We come up to you or do something, and you're like, how'd you do that? It was not working right for me, now it's working perfectly for you. This is that trick, okay? So remember this. Force rebuild. It is a way to perform a rebuild of the entire feature tree from top to bottom.
I still don't really know
So
what
in
rebuilding
doing that, it
means.
fixes 99% of these weird, funky things that might be going on with your models. All right, so Control Q.
It like
Now, all I'm going to
pairs.
showcase here is just the difference between the standard rebuild and the forced rebuild. So the standard rebuild is that symbol that's there on the modify box. It's up top in the toolbar, and it only rebuilds geometry that is flagged for a rebuild. Okay, so for example here, if I use that rebuild, only the features that have that symbol on it will be rebuilt. So Control Q goes from top to bottom, rebuilding everything, and I promise you it fixes a lot of things that might be going on with your model. Reference planes. The tip is not that reference planes exist. The tip is 2 ways that you guys can quickly add reference planes. One, on the fly. That's my favorite way to add reference planes. My second favorite way is to add a mid-plane very quickly. So let's take a look at this. So
Whoa.
I want to add a reference plane. I hold the control key and drag away. But the trick is to make sure your mouse is on the edge of the plane. When that crosshairs or that pan symbol comes up, then you're ready to go to add these reference planes. Okay, so control drag, add a reference plane. It is a drag and drop kind of thing, but you can always go in and key in the exact value that you want.
What is it?
Drag and drop kind of thing, but you can always go in and key in the exact value that you
Control
want.
click on the edge.
Okay, so quickly adding reference planes.
I should open
Now here's
SolidWorks.
mid-planes. Pre-selecting 2 faces and then going up to reference geometry and adding a plane.
Yeah, yeah,
You'll
yeah.
add a mid-plane on the fly like that. All right,
No,
so it's
really?
a quick way to add mid-planes. That's how I do it all the time. All right, so there was 2 tricks there with the reference planes, control drag to pull it away, and then pre-selecting the 2 faces, and then adding a mid-plane quickly like that.
It's just like a
Next
error
is
checker.
recent files and the welcome screen. Again, this isn't just that these things exist. These are ways that you can use it to help take advantage of the software, okay? So you can browse through all your recent files by hitting the R key.
I've seen so many
It's been extended
tutorials
to, from 16
where in the middle they're like trying to do
releases
something,
to 100
and then what
now.
they're trying to do
You can
isn't
have 100
working,
files
and they
in
have to
your
like
recents. You can scroll through.
troubleshoot, but then act like
Find
they
all
know what
sorts
they're
of files
doing.
there. But
Kinda
also,
funny.
there's options. There's extended options for opening a file, and I'll show you that right here. So let's take a look at using using recent files. I have a couple pinned on the top. You can see I have those 8 pinned, so I can always get to them. I'll call those my favorites. And then below that, I have just the recent files, things that I've been working on rather recently. You can hit the R key.
Okay, R
And
key.
here is the recent dialog box here where it lists the thumbnails of up to 100 of those recent files. You can pin it like that so it's showing up on the top. And then here's those other options. You hit that caret down in the lower right corner. Then you can pick the mode you're
I like
opening
carrots.
it in, a configuration, and a display state. So you don't have to open it up and then do things later. Right? You can open deliberately
Let me
the
close my,
configuration, the display
PC.
state, and the mode that you want to use when you're going to
I
open up
did,
that
yeah.
file. And then also, this is just the welcome screen here. It's got a lot of things, recent folder paths, links to learn, alerts from the RSS feed. So there's a lot there. Consider using that. Reload. I use
It's
this all
been
the
considered,
time.
boy.
Maybe because I don't do any real work, but I just do a lot of demonstrations. So if I'm in there and I am just modeling and I need to reopen the part, I'd close it, I don't save it, and then I reopen it to get back to where I was. The reload command will do that for you automatically. So if you're from the Adobe community, it's similar to the revert command in Adobe. So let's take a look at that. Say, for example, I'm working on this product, and I get super distracted, and I do something very
I
silly
can relate.
like that. I made a very important line in the sketch geometry. Then errors, and now it's this product, and I get super distracted, and I do something very silly like that. I made a very important line in the sketch geometry. Then errors, and now it doesn't look like a jug. I don't even know what I was doing. So I would
You
close,
suck.
don't open, and save. And you can use the reload command. This will automate that. It will identify if changes have occurred. Right, that's highlighted in red. You're going to lose that data. That's okay. Now I'm back to the last save. Another tip here, no video for this, but just pointing this out. At the top, that asterisk next to the part number means whatever is working on hasn't yet been saved to the disk.
That's good.
So a lot of people ask that, and I wanted to just point that out here.
Good tip.
Bonus tip, 6B.
Bonus.
Asterisk. 7, the context menu. Now, this is a great way to work in what we call this heads-up modeling environment, right? So you can minimize your mouse movement, right? So you can really reduce your mouse mileage, we call it. You want to focus on your design instead of going up to the command manager, over to the feature tree, right, all over the screen, windshield washing. You want to be focused on your design.
Windshield
So a great
washing.
way to do that is to use the context menu. However, it can be frustrating because if you don't go directly to the context menu, that window will disappear. It is really passive aggressive in that way. It's like, okay, if you don't want to pay attention to me, I'm just going to be gone forever. So here's how to create the context menu. However, it can be frustrating because if you don't go directly to the context menu, that window will disappear. It is really passive aggressive in that way. It's like, okay, if you don't want to pay attention to me, I'm just going to be gone forever. So here's how you can get it back. So let's take a look first at the context menu here, right? It's a great way to add mates like that on the fly. But if I don't go directly to it, it disappears. Okay, so there I am. I go away from it.
Oh no! It's
Now,
gone.
how do I
forever.
get it back? Well, I've moved my mouse back
Story
to
of
the
my
area
life.
where it was, and then I hit the control key, and it brings it back for you. You can have access to that.
What did he say?
Brings it back. I've moved my mouse back to the area where it was, and then I hit the control key, and it brings it back for you. So you can have access to that.
Oh.
So control key brings back the context menu.
This guy's brilliant.
The D key, similar,
D key.
basically a similar concept to modeling with the context menu, except this has a lot more power to it, okay? The D key was added a few years ago, and it came with breadcrumbs. And using breadcrumbs, using breadcrumbs basically means you can model with the feature tree hidden, because anything you click on, you can get directly into everything you'd want. The features, the sketches, the mates if it's a part, right? It's all context sensitive, and it brings you directly to where you want to be. So let's take a look at that. So this is the D key and breadcrumbs combined here. So I hit the D key, and it brings these breadcrumbs right to my mouse pointer. If I don't hit the D key,
it goes
what
up
happens
to the...
is the breadcrumbs are going to be up in the upper left corner.
Yeah.
Place for it to be.
No, it's not.
Okay, so I can get access to everything, right? I click on that face, and it brings up everything, the sketch, the feature, all the fillets around it. Here, if I hit the D key, it brings the breadcrumbs to my mouse pointer, and now I have access to all of the mates in that part, the body, the feature, everything right at my mouse pointer. And that's using breadcrumbs, which has been there for a few years now, but hitting the D key to bring that to your mouse pointer. So now, which has been there for a few years now, right access to all of the mates in that part, the body, the feature, everything right at my mouse pointer. And that's using breadcrumbs, which has been there for a few years now, but hitting the D key to bring that to your mouse pointer. So now you can truly model.
Breadcrumbs are those things.
Cleared, and you can really minimize your mouse. Now, which has been there for a few years now, but hitting the D key to bring that to your mouse pointer. So now you can truly model with the feature tree cleared, and you can really minimize your mouse.
Consider it like
movement.
cleaning up the
Great way
crumbs.
to be working. If you can do that, it'll really speed up the way that you model. Okay, I have a couple of selection tips here. We have previous selection, select other, and select tangency. Previous select is my favorite of these because it's extremely powerful, and I understand how frustrating it can be when you're going through, picking a bunch of things, and then you misclick or something and you can't get it back, right? So let's take a look at this. This is select other. Imagine I was picking 1,000 faces. I don't know why I would do that, but imagine. And if I misclicked, I got distracted, what have you, I would have to pick them all again. But through the right-click menu, I can hit the command for previous select. Great. Next, I have select other. This is a command that allows you to select through geometry or select things that are not shown deliberately, right? Below your mouse pointer, SolidWorks understands what's there, okay? And the last tip here is select tangency. You can get that by right-clicking on an edge, and it will select the tangency there. But my favorite is previous select, and probably the most useful to me is select other, but that's not that.
That's my favorite too.
Great looking little tip. We have selection filters here. A pro tip, a lot of power users will have their filters docked somewhere, maybe the bottom of your screen. So you can have easy access to this, right? You can turn the filters on or off by hitting F6 or F5, and they're very useful to control basically whatever you're selecting. Let's take a look at that. Here, I'll hit F6, turns on my filters. See, you can see that little funnel thing. I get a lot of questions, hey, what's this symbol next to my mouse? I can't pick anything.
Yeah, I've asked
F5
that. I've asked
brings
that.
up the selection filters.
I
The
had to solve
toolbar,
it.
so now you can actively
It was pissing me off.
faces, edges,
So I
bodies,
noticed to do
1,
it.
2, 3 of them, 4 of them. And here's that pro tip, just
That's
move
in
it
my-
down
that's-
somewhere
that's in
and
the
it'll
bottom of
snap
mine.
and become docked then to your interface. Okay, so F6 turns them on and off. F5 brings up the window, the filter manager, and then docking it was the next tip. Command search, this is by far my favorite out of all 60 of these, and I will just get right into it. There's a lot that you can do with it. Up at the top, I use this all the time. I just start typing, right? So here I'm starting to type COS, it filters through. I can find a command by clicking the eyeglass. This is not me moving my mouse. That's not my arrow. That's SolidWorks pointing out where
I
the
know that
command
tip.
is. So that's useful, so now I can learn.
That's useful.
Or I could just enter a command up top and then launch it directly without knowing where it is. So that's the only place I need to go
That's
to
the
start
bitches
looking for
do.
commands. Like here I have the combine command. Okay? And the last thing I can do with this is I can drag and drop from the command manager onto my, from the command search onto my command manager, so I can customize on the fly. If I know I'm going to be using this combine or this split tool or something pretty often, consider searching for it, and then dragging and dropping it and adding it to the command manager on the fly. 11, shortcut bars. These are context-sensitive shortcut bars that come up that are sensitive for sketches, parts, drawings, and assemblies. So let's take a look at these. It's really great because there's a lot of different ways that you can focus on the graphics area. You're not looking around, you're really focusing on your model, directly on your model. You're not digging through menus, and that is not just an easier and better way to work, it's much more efficient for us as users. So I'm modeling entirely with the S key here. I just keep hitting the S key to get every command I'd want. This is fully customizable for sketches,
nice.
parts, assemblies, and drawings. Definitely consider using the S key.
I'd use that.
I'm sure a lot of you guys
Ready,
will.
next step is going to be
If you're not,
smart gestures.
please consider using it.
Oh, I was right.
Customizing, let's talk about customizing this. So I'll show you how to customize the heads-up toolbar, and I'll also show you mouse gestures. Mouse gestures are great because you can model very quickly with just wiggling your mouse. All right, wiggle your mouse and just swipe over a command, you don't even see it. So I like to do customizing of the heads-up display to get a couple of commands, maybe normal to or measure. Right, so I find that's the heads-up display, you don't even see it. So I like to do customizing of the heads-up display to get a couple of commands, maybe normal to or measure. Right, so I find that's command customize ... and just drag and drop. Right, so all I'm showing you here is how to customize your interface. Just drag and drop from the customize window. Right, so I'll add measure, I'll add normal to there. All right. If I want to take something off, it's just a drag and drop to delete it from it. All right. The customize.
Oh, you put that there.
So I'll add measure, I'll add normal to there. All right. If I want to take something off, it's just a drag and drop to delete it from it. All right, now this is mouse gestures. This wheel that comes up by right-clicking and moving on my mouse just a little bit. I'm just wiggling my mouse.
Wiggling the mouse, wiggling the mouse.
And then you see I start to accelerate. I get a little bit faster with it. I start swiping over the command. And I get really quickly into it. I'm not, hunting around for a key on the keyboard. I'm just using my mouse and swiping over something. Right, so that's mouse gestures. Next, we have save SolidWorks settings. If you are going to do an install or an upgrade, or you want to go somewhere else and work on a different machine, or maybe you came here to SolidWorks World or 3D Experience World, and you wanted to take a certification. You want to bring your settings with you. So I'll show you how to do that, right? This is the Copy Settings Wizard. You can save and restore your settings to a file that you can share somewhere in Dropbox, email it, or keep it on a flash drive, okay? So here's how you save your settings. You go through, you check what you want, browse, find the location where you want it to be. And then that's where it is. It could be a flash drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, 3D Experience Drive. Doesn't matter. As long as you can find it because you need it now. Once you're inside of SolidWorks, you can click Restore Settings, and now you browse out, find the file. Here we go. I'm going to go, it's in my OneDrive, and I'll find it right there. Hit Next, finish. Now my interface has been customized to my liking, right? That's my settings. I take that with me. I make sure I know where it is so I can load that up. Browse Open Documents. This menu shows you what is actually open. It's a great way to go through your parts. The Control tab is the hotkey to do that. So let's take a look at that. There's two ways to get to it. Up at the top, the window command, it lists everything that's open, right? So that's what was there. Or Control tab allows you to cycle through these so you can quickly get to your open files. Maybe you're going back and forth between things, right? You don't want to tile the windows, for example, right? You want your full screen SolidWorks. So window command, the window menu, drop down lists them. Control tab is the shortcut to go ahead through them. Filtering the feature manager. I can't tell you how many people had no idea, me too for a little while, years. I didn't realize that there was a filter bar at the top of the feature manager. So let's take a look at that. All you need to do is click your mouse up there and start typing. And if you're smart with the way you name your parts, your features, your sketches, this can become a very useful tool to you. So now I can start to filter through here and find these features, right? I don't have to go searching for them. But it's really powerful here in an assembly mode because as I filter through the feature tree, it also filters the graphics area. So now it's basically hiding everything that isn't shown now in the feature tree. So that's some added functionality there to the filtering command at the top of the feature tree. Flattened tree view, this is one, I just want to point out that it's there, right? I don't want you to be confused if you see a part that has this, how someone got their setup this way. You can choose to do this if you want. It's a setting on the tree display. So what it does is it takes everything out of the nested format and lists everything at the same level. So
That might be kinda
here's
useful.
your regular tree, right? Notice I have a lot of sweeps, a lot of multiple features with multiple sketches. If I right click at the top, go to tree display, hit show flattened tree view, it will then list everything at the same level, okay? So that's what I'm doing here. Tree display, show flat tree view, nothing has been nested or indented in there. Collapsing the tree. You guys are probably working with very large assemblies, right? And your tree gets pretty messy. You have a lot of sub-assemblies and sub-assemblies and sub-assemblies, and your tree gets very long. Well, instead of scrolling all the way through it, I suggest using Shift-C or the command for collapsing the tree to make it all nice and neat again. So here we go. I got an assembly.
Shift-C, Shift-C,
A lot
collapse
of
the tree.
parts,
Shift-C.
a lot of sub-assemblies listed here. Shift-C.
Shift-C, collapse the
Shortcut.
tree. Shift-C,
Collapse the tree,
Shift-C,
so check
okay.
that out.
Shift-C,
Nice and
collapse the
neat.
tree. Shift-C,
Shift-C
collapse
to
the tree.
collapse the tree. Or I could right-click
That's right.
and get it that way too. So I want you guys to be aware that that's what that is. Collapse item, right there. Folders in the tree.
Collapse.
If you guys are keen on organizing your feature tree, I suggest using add to folder. It's a good way to organize things like your hardware, certain types of features. Right, so let's take a look at that. I have a couple of parts here, for example, these feet. I click them all. The hardware as well. I right click, add to new folder. So now I'm going to start to organize my tree. I can give it a name. Now it just becomes much more clean, organized, and a much better way for me to work. So that is folders in the feature tree. Now I got some what I call nuggets in the tree. These are two things that I suggest taking a look at, consider using them. One is sensors and one is the design binder. Sensors and design binder, these are things that will get listed in your feature tree so you can always access them. And you'll always have available there properties like the mass or things like measurement or interference detection, proximity things, right? So when it's there and active and in your face, you're much more aware of that.
In your
And
face?
you can use it for things like simulation results. You always want to know what's the stress or the factor of safety. So you don't have to go digging and searching for these things. You can have it be listed in your tree. And then the design binder is a way to add documents to your tree. All right, so let's take a look at both of these. So to see them, you have to go to hidden tree items. You right click on the top of the tree, hide show tree items, and now you can turn these on to show. So now they're there. I have the design binder. This is what the design binder looks like. I want to attach a document to it. So now this PDF will live and reside inside of my SolidWorks file right there in my feature tree. Here I can go ahead and find that document, and it's linked. Physical document itself is linked now, and it goes for the ride with your SolidWorks part. All right, next. Custom views. These are good if you're going to really want to make marketing images, or you always want to capture a particular view, or you want to pre-set up certain things that you want to have in a drawing, in a 2D drawing. So let's take a look at that. So there's two things we can do. We can save it just to this document, or we can make it a global SolidWorks view, so it's always available. Now, how do I get to it? Well, you have to have this orientation window open. You get to that by hitting the space bar. And then you can hit that new name
My
view
space
bar.
down.
So now whatever orientation,
Tech my friend.
zoom level, and orientation has been saved now. And then you can give it a name. All right, so I'm calling this front hinge. Notice in the lower left-hand corner, it has that name of that view. Now I can always get to these views. Right now it's only in this document, but if I move my mouse over and then I hit that save icon, it now becomes a saved view globally for all of my parts inside of SolidWorks. Rotating about an entity. This is one that I like to point out. It's very useful, but this is one that I think some people accidentally find themselves doing. So the way you do this is you middle mouse click on top of an entity. It gets highlighted in purple, and then that's what you're rotating about. So let's take a look at this. So middle mouse click on it. It's now purple, and now I can rotate holding the middle mouse wheel, and it's going to rotate about that entity. So whatever I picked is going to determine the degrees of freedom and the range of motion. So now I can start to preview certain motions. I'm not
That's
just
cool.
tumbling my model around now, right? I can rotate it about particular entities, faces, vertices, faces, edges, okay? Cylindrical faces are very useful. Zoom to fit, this is one that's very, very useful. And the shortcut for that is to hit the F key. Okay, so you're zoomed in on something and you just want to zoom
Know what
out,
I wanted to
fit
do?
everything in to your screen. There's zoom to fit. So let's take a look at that. There's a couple of ways to do it. You can hit F, double click the middle mouse wheel, and there's also a icon, a command that you can pick. So I'm zoomed in here pretty close. That's the zoom to fit button up there on the heads up display. Sorry, that was quick, but it's up there on the heads up display. Here, I don't know where my model is. Okay, well, let me hit F. It'll bring everything right in there. So it's a good way to know maybe you have something off in space. You're rotating your model, things are behaving weird. Hit the F key and see how it orients the model, right? It fits all of your geometry into the screen. So F, or double clicking the middle mouse wheel, or hitting the command up on the command manager. Now normal to. This isn't a tip that normal to exists. This is a tip on a way to customize the way it's going to be normal to, okay? So the first thing is just some extended functionality here. Normal to once, you're looking at it, you hit normal to again, it flips it around. You can do that all day. But then the next tip here is how to do a custom orientation of your normal to. The first face determines the normal, and then the second face determines its orientation, right? So you're just basically rotating it around. Let's take a look at this. So here's normal to. Click it once, nothing new there, but click it again, and you can rotate to the back side, the positive or negative side. Just keep flipping it around. Now here is the custom orientation. Click one face. Click the second face. That's going to be the up orientation. Now I hit normal to, so that's my custom normal to orientation. If you want to determine how you normal, click the second face. Here is the custom orientation. Click one face. Click the second face. That's going to be the up
I'm sure you have to hold down shift for
orientation.
that.
Now I hit normal to, so that's my custom normal to orientation. If you want to determine how you want this to look, you can. I'll click this face now, and then I'll hit normal to. That's going to be my up orientation. Does that make sense? Cool. Zoom to selection. This is a great way to, especially if you have large assemblies, to really zoom in on a particular area of your subassembly. It zooms right in and fits whatever you've clicked on to your screen. So let's take a look at this. I click on this one little tiny component. I hit the zoom to selection. It brings me right to it. Okay, so consider using that, especially if you have large assemblies. It saves you a lot of time instead of playing that game of zooming in and moving your mouse as you zoom in, you know. We all know it. Okay. Rotate about scene floor. This is something that gets saved with the document. So sometimes you might open up someone else's document and it looks like this, especially looks like that symbol there, that mouse symbol, the rotate symbol with the line through it. That means rotate about scene floor has been turned on. It's a property of that file, okay? And it basically determines the way the model moves around. It fixes the floor so you can't tumble it around and it becomes very difficult to navigate, but it maintains stability in your model, so it makes it look better if you're doing a presentation. So let's take a look at this. Here, I'll do the exact same mouse movement. I just move it from left to right, and it starts to tumble upside down. Okay, that's
What's going on?
new. Now let's go to modify. And
Oh, I'm in this menu. Here, this is what I wanted. Boom! That's all I wanted. I just wanted a button that I could click and just go to isometric. Now look, see I have this thing. This awesome creation. Like, No, I just want to be able to click it. Okay. Let's change that. Fucking annoying. It's a lot of functions, Jesus Christ. If I wanted all three of these, I'd let you know, but I don't. Oh, there we go. Yeah. I want to just be able to click that and then immediately go there. Perfect.
And I'll hit the rotate about scene floor off. Now this is turned on. Now I'll do the same motion, but notice how that floor plane has been fixed. It doesn't rotate or tumble upside down now. It basically keeps it stable. As hard as I try, I'm not going to be able to flip that model upside down. And it can become incredibly frustrating if you don't know that that exists and you don't know that someone else did that. And if you hit save, then that becomes the way that this model is going to behave. So pointing out here that that exists and ways to understand it and how to turn it back off. The reference triad. All right, let's just go right to the video on this one. Basically, we're going to focus on the reference triad and different ways that you can use the functionality of it to help rotate your model, okay? So if I just start clicking on those lines, it basically goes normal to those planes. So I can graphically click on them to go normal to those axes. Great. But if I shift and click them, it starts to rotate. So now I'm rotating 90 degrees. 90 degrees about this one, okay? And now 15 degrees if I hit the Alt key. So the Alt key does it that way. And if I want to change the direction, I hold the Control key. So it's Control Alt or Control Shift and click those the axes from the reference triad, and it will change the direction around. Okay, so there's some functionality there that you guys have. Now we're going to move on to sketching. So sketch relations. This is something that was added, I believe, in
I like that better,
2016. And it's a really easy way to add sketch relations using that shared or common vertex.
I like that better.
So
for
you don't have to hold control and pick multiple lines. You can just click the shared vertex and add it very quickly. So it's a huge time saver. You just have to remember that it exists. I find myself all the time forgetting that.
I'm trying to
just click the shared vertex right there, and then the appropriate
or the like some
acceptable
circles to like get
up, and I can quickly add that. Here I'll add a tangent relationship. The key here is to just remember that that exists, because we get into our habits, right? And we've been working that way for years and years and years. I do that too. Just want to explain these things to you guys that's there. It's going to save you a lot of time. Whenever I can remember it, I'm pretty proud of myself that I remembered that. I don't know if you guys have that feeling.
Haha, yeah, I have.
Window and lasso select. So there's two ways that you can select components: a box select, which we call window select, or the lasso tool. Lasso tool was released a few years ago. But the tip about these two tools is that if you go from left to right, or if you go from right to left, or clockwise and counterclockwise, it behaves differently. And I find a lot of people don't realize that. Okay?
No, wait, don't
so
save it.
when it's blue, it's just left to right or clockwise. It selects entities only within it, entirely within it. From right to left, or counterclockwise, selects anything that the box or the lasso tool
like this?
touches.
But don't select.
Now the box or lasso select is a permanent tool that's on all the time. So you have to toggle between one or the other. All right, so now I went from right to left,
don't select.
and it picks every single thing that the box touches. Now, how do I change it to lasso select?
second
Right
thought,
click,
select
selection
that.
tools, go to lasso
On
select.
second thought, don't select. On second thought, I'll select.
Now I start
Don't
drawing a
select,
circle around
don't
that.
select,
Right, that's
select,
pretty cool.
Don't select,
I could have done that with a
don't
box
select,
select, right?
Don't
That's
select,
not too
select,
impressive.
don't select.
But what is
select.
impressive is when you
I
start to make
said,
these really
don't
complicated
select.
ones. Like, I want to select everything but these two guys. You can't do that with the box select.
I like the don't select.
So you can get a lot of granularity there in the way you can deliberately pick things and realize
Yeah,
that
you
going
can.
from left to right or from right to left will act differently. When you
Whoa,
do
this is actually cool.
Now, disabling auto relations.
Wiggle,
Imagine
wiggle.
you're sketching and you
Sorry.
have a lot of stuff going on. This can get incredibly annoying. When you have all these dash lines, all these witness lines, everything coming up in your face. Obviously, all that information is great, but how do you turn them off so you can model cleanly? Hold the control key. And the second you release the control key, auto relations are back on. So let's take a look at that. Here I got some geometry. Now I have these auto relations coming up, all these dash lines, everything, right? As long as I hold the control key, like
I think I'm gonna follow a tutorial for like a spoon, cause that's like a good like complex thing, but it's like can't be that bad. I'm just gonna follow along after this. Then I'm gonna get started on tasks I need to do.
I am right now, no matter how hard I try, I can't add those relations.
Oh, dang it,
Nothing
dang
is
it!
Snapping
If only there's something I could
a
do.
clean way for me to model. The second I let go of the control key, then the thing starts snapping and it gets back to normal. Okay, so consider holding the control key to disable auto relations on the fly.
Everyone knows.
Power trim, known as the SolidWorks Weed Whacker. This is one of my favorite tools. I highly
actually
recommend using
like
it.
this
Anything your mouse
No, I
crosses
like the normal
over
trim.
will be trimmed and deleted. But the tip here is how you can undo power trim, because this is a really powerful tool and you start modeling quickly, you can delete things accidentally. So how do you undo it without, okay, obviously Control Z, but how do you undo it using the cool, slick way to do it? So let's take a look at that. Trim entities, power trim, I hold my mouse, anything I cross over gets deleted, right, like that. But if I want to undo something, all I have to do is trace back over those red squares that show up, and I can undo the power trim on the fly like that. So all you have to do, cross over that red square.
Oh, what the fuck? So I can go nom. Undo. Nom. Speed run. Speed run. Speed run. Undo that. No, undo that. No, undo that. No, undo that. No, I said undo. I said already. Speed run undo. Click connect the dots. It's glitching. World record. Cool.
Undoes it. And a side tip here, power trim can also power extend as long as you start on top of an entity. Okay, so it's not always trimming. As long as you start on
The power trim here. That's useful. You would never do that. This is actually really useful, I think. Actually, it's probably not, honestly. It's very fun to use.
top of an entity, click and drag, it then becomes
I use
power
that for
extend.
making something.
Okay, so there's another tip.
I need to go to the bathroom. Hold on. Wait, let me check something. I'm just curious how it's
31.
How does the stream sound?
Dimensioning to tangencies. So the shortcut
31.
here
How does the
is
stream
to
sound?
leverage the shift tangencies to add dimension. Shortcut
31.
here
How does the
is
stream
to
sound?
leverage the shift tangents to tangent.
Bye. cold. Should get some food. Freaking cold, bruh. Should I take a quick break? Oh no. Might have been a bad decision. I upgraded the rich cat. I don't have enough money left. Why did I do that? What a waste. Alright, let's see what comes out of this space. Jack's Films alive. Uh-oh. Oh, there's only a single target? What the hell? Right? Yeah, it's like only a single target. Pussy. Oh wait, no, it's multi-target. Kinda sucks now. This moth. Jeepers. Yeah, I should get some food. I've had an energy drink in the morning and I didn't have anything with it. And I have a breakfast microwave burrito that's like very small. There's like leftover pasta, or I make pasta. It's unhealthy to not have food. As much as I would like to keep grinding, but it's smart to have food. I don't feel well. Getting food. Put that on the thing. It's 2:30. I haven't had food. Okay. made tea. I was watching a YouTube video. I finished watching it. Oh, it just ended. It's about fast food and how it gets you to buy stuff. It's all pretty obvious. I don't really learn anything from it. Oh, this is too small. Or shorts and a t-shirt. Oh, there's a coat right there. This, I think this is too small for me, but I think I'm slightly sick. Oh, whatever. That camera. Whatever.
Tangencies. All right. There is a way to do it inside a menu going to the properties, but this is the slick, cool way to do it, and it's much more quicker to model graphically. So here's a regular dimension. Here's how I can do it in the menu here. I change the leader line options, and I start clicking min, max, center, and I can change these around through the menu. But that's just changing it after it's already been added. How do I add these tangent relationships while I'm doing it on the fly? So you hold the shift key to do it, right? Here's just a regular dimension. Now I'll hold shift and I'll pick both of these, and it adds a tangent dimension. And I'll do this again, except this time I won't hold shift and it'll be a center. I'll hold shift here, and now it's a tangent, right? So when you're holding the shift key, whatever you pick is the tangent dimension. It could be one, it could be both, or none, then you're back to normal, right? So dimension tangency on the fly. Create a sketch on a model edge. This one was a question that was asked of me. How can you do this? And all you have to do is pick a edge, hit the sketch button, and you're sketching on a plane perpendicular to that line that you clicked on, right? So all it takes is this. Click on the edge, hit sketch. Now you have a plane there and you're sketching. You blinked, you missed it, right? I can get out of that sketch and now I have a reference plane, right? So I have that edge, hit sketch, I have a reference plane there. So it's also a quick way to add a reference plane. You can always edit it later, but you see normal or perpendicular to that model edge and coincident to the end point closest to which you picked.
Cool.
Fully defining your sketches.
That's useful.
Sometimes this is a great command for when you really want to be lazy. You can add 100 dimensions in a second, and your boss doesn't need to know. So let's take a look at this. Now, I don't know if this is good or not, but it's there, and it's extremely powerful. So fully defining your sketches, you can do this by selected entities, right? These three things. Calculate.
I use that.
Now I have the dimensions
I hate
necessary
stuff.
to fully define that sketch. Or I can do every entity. And this is to fully define that sketch. Or I can do every entity. And this is what I mean by I don't know if this is a good thing, right? Because it becomes a mess. I don't know if that's how I would have actually dimensioned it, but now it's fully defined and it looks like I just did a lot of work, right? So if you want to quickly add a lot of dimensions, fully defined sketch is the way to go. Changing your sketch type. The tip here is you can hit the A key. Instead of moving your mouse from the center of the graphics area up to the top to change from a corner rectangle to a center point rectangle, you can just hit the A key and start cycling through all these things so you don't have to go up to the top and take your focus away from the center of the screen, okay? And you can also auto-transition to an arc between a line and arc, and it's a quick way to add tangent arcs. So let's take a look at that. All I'm showing you here is that the A key cycles through all those different commands, right? Rectangles, slots. There's a lot of different types of these. All I'm showing you here is that the A key cycles through all those different commands, right? Rectangles, slots. There's a lot of different types of these entities that can be added. So hitting the A key just cycles through them, right? Now I'm drawing a line. I hit the A key here. It turns into an arc. So that's a good way to auto transition into an arc. And there's even slicker ways to do that, but the tip here is it's the A key to do that. Horizontal and vertical relationships. Here, what I'm showing you is how to tell if it's going to be horizontal or vertical, right? It's a little bit more insight because if you're looking at your model all skewed at a weird angle or a weird plane, you might not know, are these 2 points, should they be horizontal or should they be vertical, right? And it highlights whichever is the closer of the two. So then you get some more information and you can interpret that and then pick the right one, okay? So should these 2 points be horizontal or vertical if I want to line them up? Well, it's telling me it should probably be vertical because that's what it's closest to. That's kind of what I wanted. If I wanted them to be lined up the other way, I could have taken that, interpreted that signal, and then click the right one. Okay. Also, the one that's highlighted in bold over in the left-hand side of the screen, same thing. Okay. So then you get some more information and you can interpret that and then pick the right one. Okay. So should these 2 points be horizontal or vertical if I want to line them up? Well, it's telling me it should probably be vertical because that's what it's closest to. That's kind of what I wanted. If I wanted them to be lined up the other way, I could have taken that, interpreted that signal, and then click the right one. Okay. Also, the one that's highlighted in bold over in the left-hand side of the screen, same thing. It's the one that is closest to, right? So that's all I'm showing you here, so you can understand what SolidWorks is telling you and make informed decisions. Creating a single line. I love sharing this one because if you just have the line tool on, it's going to create multiple lines until you do things like double click or hit the escape key, right? So you can click, drag, and release to add one line at a time. So let's show that. Single line. Click, click, click. That's your default line tool. Same line tool, but I click and hold and release. I can draw one at a time. So click and release one at a time. And it still adds relationships too. If I click and snap it right on top of there, I'm adding those relationships on the fly. So a single line can be added by clicking, dragging, and releasing, kind of like a rubber band style.
Whoa.
Arc dimensions, here's a tip to add a arc length dimension with a smart dimension. It involves you picking the arc and its 2 endpoints, and with those 3 things, you can add this arc dimension. It's not just the diameter of it, right? It's the arc length. So 1, 2, 3, with the smart dimension tool, things you can add involves you picking the arc and its 2 endpoints, and with those 3 things, you can add this arc dimension. It's not just the diameter of it, right? It's the arc length. So 1, 2, 3, with the smart dimension tool, there's my true arc dimension. Okay, so 1, that's just like the radius of it. But I click here with the control key, and I don't stop. I keep going. Now I got that. Perfect. All right. Close sketch to model. Here's another tip if you want to be lazy and sometimes that's modeling smarter, right? Easiest way is probably the best way. So you don't have to draw or finish your profiles. You can use model edges to close the profile for a sketch to be used for a feature. So let's take a look at this. Again, just imagine I wasn't being so lazy when I did this, right? It's 2 lines. I could have just continued it, but then I wouldn't have the tip to show you. So it says, hey, do you want to close with model edges? The arrow is pointing outward because I have geometry down there. No, I want it to go this way, and that is going to be the contour or the shape for my extrusion. So you can close your open profiles as long as outward because you want to, could have just continued it, but imagine I wasn't being so lazy when I did this, right? It's 2 lines. I could have just continued it, but then I wouldn't have the tip to show you. So it says, hey, do you want to close with model edges? The arrow is pointing outward because I have geometry down there. No, I want it to go this way, and that is going to be the contour or the shape for my extrusion. So you can close your open profiles as long as they line up with your model geometry. as long as they line up with your model geometry.
Okay, asshole.
Sketch Expert. Consider using this tool, especially if you are running into some issues with your sketching. You add an extra relationship, you add too many dimensions, it becomes overdefined, overconstrained, things are conflicting, unsolvable. Here's how you can diagnose that with an automated tool to help walk you through the process. Right, so here I have an overdefined thing, I click on it in the bottom, it launches Sketch Expert. And then diagnosing it gives me options. It says I can delete the tangent relationship, then it'll look like this. I can do that, it'll look like this. I can do this, it'll look like that. Which one do you want? When I get the appropriate one that I want, I can hit accept, or I can look at all of the ones that are causing the conflict, and I can delete one of them, and I can fix that too. So Sketch Expert is a tool that brings you directly to an interface that presents you with options that could fix your sketch issues by automatically showing you what it looks like, or presenting you with a list of the things that are causing problems so that then you can manually delete them. So consider using the Sketch Expert if you're having issues with your sketch. The biad. I love adding angle dimensions this way. You don't need to add construction geometry to add angle dimensions. So let me show you how to do that, all right? And the tip on how to make this work is you click the line you want the angle to, and then its endpoint, and then you pick these lines that represent the construction geometry, right? So here's what I want to add. I want that angle. Okay, that's what I'm going to add, but this time without that construction geometry. So here's the line, here's the point, and now the biad. I pick what would be the construction. Here's the point, what I'm going to add, but this time without that construction geometry. So here's the line, here's the point, and now the biad. I pick what would be the construction geometry, and I'm doing that all without any additional sketch geometry. Okay? And it works in drawings too, okay? So I have the biad up here in a drawing, and now I can use that line to add my angle dimension, right? So it's the actual model edge or the sketch geometry, and then the end point, and then you can use the biad, all right? Spin box increments, first tip is that thing on the left-hand side at the bottom of the modify is actually a thumb wheel. I was shocked when I heard that too. I didn't really think it looked like a thumb wheel, but hey, it does. And then the other one is a slider. The difference there is, the one on the right is a slider because it has a fixed minimum and a fixed maximum, typically for things like angles. But the dimensions, you could be positive or negative, and it's spinning all over the place there. Dimensions, you could be positive or negative, and it's spinning all over the place there. But the real tip here is you can change the speed to 1/10 or 10x by using the Alt or Control key, or you can also add your own custom increments if you want to. Okay, so say you want to increment it at 2.5 or 8, right? Or 12, for example. So let's see first how to add custom values, and then how you can change the speeds, okay? So custom spin box increments. I'm in the modify the dimension dialog box. Here, I'm adding a couple. I click that button. That's the spin box increment button right there at the top of the modify dialog box. I'll show that again here. So here, I'm incrementing it. I can add one to it, and now that becomes the spin box increment. And now I'll start using keyboard shortcuts here to change the speed. So Alt or Control. One is 10x, and one is 1/10.
That's cool.
So this is just your standard default behavior. Now I hold the Alt key, it becomes 1/10. And I hold the Control key, and now it's 10x. Okay, so you got a lot of keyboard shortcuts there to multiply it or reduce it, or you can add these custom values too. All right, so again, custom values, then Alt and Control key to help change the on the fly. Single command per pick. I want to point out that this is a way that you can choose to work if you want to. It's a system option that allows you to sketch just one circle or one line at a time using single command per pick. Okay, it's a system option. Or you could double click on it and then it acts like default, right? So here's single command per pick, right? One circle. I go up, I got to add another circle, right? Single command per pick. Or I could double click the command and I'm sketching like default. So the tip here is that this exists. It's a system option that I'm just informing you that exists if this is how you want to work. Some people like it.
I like that. Whoa. Nah, that's absurd.
But personally, I'm an out-of-the-box kind of guy. So, all right, single command per pick. Pierce versus coincident. Here, I just want to point out what's the difference, okay? Coincident is more general, and Pierce is one unique point, one unique place. It's the point where an entity passes through the plane. Coincident is where the projection of it, an infinite projection, passes through the plane. Okay, so that's the difference. Coincident is the projection, infinite projection onto a plane, and I'll show you what I mean by infinite, and Pierce is that one unique spot. So here is convert entities. I'll take that edge and I'll convert it onto the plane, and that's its projection, right? So it's take that edge and I'll convert it onto the plane, and that's its convert entities. I'll take that edge and I'll convert it onto the plane, and that's its projection, right? So it's coincident with that plane. So now I'm just showcasing that that point is on that plane. Now here I'm going to pierce it, and it's only that one particular point where the plane and that edge intersects. Does that make sense? Right, so the coincident is the infinite projection. As long as it lines up with the projection, you can move it along the direction. Pierce is that one particular point, okay? Here's another system option that you guys can choose to work with. I don't know if I recommend it or not. I'm sure there's a good use for it, but I'm basically just pointing out that this exists as a system option that you can choose to work. So it allows you to override the dimensions when you drag an entity. So that circle looks like it's defined, but if I just start dragging it, I can actually override it. So I want you guys to be aware that that exists, and that's what that option means. So you can see how this could really mess things up, right? You guys need to be aware that this is
yeah.
And if you have a good reason for why you might want to use this, please share it with me later. All right, so just be aware that this is there. Derived sketch. This is a way to copy your sketch, but not just a copy, it's linking it, okay? Derived sketch basically copies a sketch, puts it on another plane, but you can't edit it. You can only locate it. So if you make changes to the parent sketch, the changes update, right? So it's a good way to, not just a copy, but it's a linked copy or a derived copy, all right? So let's take a look at this. Here I have this manifold, I have this sketch for that flange, I want to put it on that face. So I say derived sketch, and I put it on that face. All I can do with the derived sketch is locate it, okay? I look at all of my sketch tools, they're all grayed out because it's a derived sketch, okay? But that doesn't matter because all the changes I might want to do are going to be in that parent copy. So say, for example, here I want to delete those two holes. I delete those holes, the derived sketch updated. So it's that linked copy that's always going to be there, right? So I'm copying, pasting it onto another plane. All of my sketch, it's a link I have copy or a derived copy, all right? So let's take a look at this. Here I have this manifold, I have this sketch for that flange, I want to put it on that face. So I say derived sketch, and I put it on that face. So I say this manifold, I have this sketch for that flange, I want to put it on that face. So I say derived sketch, and I put it on that face. All I can do with the derived sketch is locate it. Okay, I look at all of my sketch tools. They're all grayed out because it's a derived sketch. Okay, but that doesn't matter because all the changes I might want to do are going to be in that parent copy. So say, for example, here, I want to delete those 2 holes. I delete those holes, the derived sketch updated. So it's that linked copy that's always going to be there, right? So I'm copying, pasting it onto another plane, but it's a linked copy. Resetting on dragging, this is one that happens to a lot of people accidentally. Say you're moving your model around, if you accidentally right-click, it goes back to where it was before. So here's one I just want to point out that it happens accidentally. So I'm moving my stuff around, and I just right-click, it goes back to normal, okay? So you're moving your sketch geometry around, and you're moving stuff around, right-click, brings it back to where it was. There you go. That happens accidentally, pointing out that SolidWorks isn't this possessed piece of software. You just accidentally hit the right mouse button. Performance evaluation, definitely recommend taking a look at this. This is a good way to understand if you're having performance issues with your model and where that might be. If performance is something that's important to you, you're running into performance issues, it's slowing you down, here's the first place you should go to look to see what could be causing that. So it's a good way to understand the root cause of performance issues if you're having them, all right? So this is things like you can start to see rebuild times. So say, for example, something takes a long time to rebuild, that would be the first place I would look to understand the implications it has on the performance of your model. And then for assemblies, you can learn a lot, right? You can get into the mates, you can run diagnostics. It's a lot more robust set of tools there in performance evaluation. So let's take a look at that. Evaluate, performance evaluation, here it is. This is just basically telling me the time in seconds and the percentage of the total rebuild time for that feature. So I use this tool to identify any performance issues, features that might be causing performance issues with my model. All right, so that's the tip. Use performance evaluation, open it up, take a look at what is taking a long time to rebuild in your model. And now with that information, you can consider using the feature freeze. This is an option that needs to be turned on, but now you can drag the rollback bar from the top down and it locks everything up so it no longer rebuilds. That also means you can't edit it, but if something's taking a long time to rebuild, you can freeze it and then you can get some performance back in your model. All right, so that's one way we would use performance evaluation and then extend that lesson we learned, use the feature freeze bar to help save us some time. All right, so let's take a look at that. So dragging this down from the top, the padlock symbol means it's frozen. I can't edit it, but that also means it's not participating in the rebuild. So my model is going to be field. The padlock symbol means it's frozen. I can't edit it, but that also means it's not participating in the rebuild. So my model is going to feel a lot more lightweight and it will perform better. See, I could take a look at this and my performance percentage and times are a lot better than they were. Quick up to surface. This is a great way to add an extruded boss up to surface without actually going into the menus. So let's take a look at this. I have that. I open the command and I just double click on the face. Just double click right on the face and it's an up to surface. You don't have to go digging through menus. So as long as you know that that's there, that functionality exists, you launch the command, double click, you're extruding up to surface. Quick up to surface.
What do you do?
That that's there, that functionality exists, you launch the command, double click, you're extruding up to surface. Quick up to surface. Dynamically loading FeatureWorks. You don't have to go actively launching the FeatureWorks command and step through the wizard or pick features that you want to actually recognize. You can do this on the fly dynamically. So you have an imported model and all you have to do is hit the edit feature button on the context bar. The tip is click on a feature, the chamfer, a hole, a boss, hit edit feature. It'll load up FeatureWorks to recognize that particular feature that you just clicked. So let's take a look at this. Here I have this imported part. That's a fillet. I hit edit feature. It recognizes the fillet. Here's a chamfer. Edit feature. It recognizes the chamfer. here's a hole, edit feature.
I use it all the time.
So I'm doing this on the fly. So obviously one part, 3 features, okay, not too impressive. But imagine you had a large part with a lot of stuff on it and you wanted to change a fillet, you wanted to change a hole or something. So you can dynamically load this on the fly. The tip there is click on it and then hit edit feature. And with that, you can dynamically load FeatureWorks and start working on your imported models. Split lines, tip here is that this exists and it's a good way to help split up your geometry into multiple faces. It's very, very useful for simulation tools, and it's also useful so that you can add things like decals or appearances to particular faces. Or maybe you're needing to do surface modeling and you want to split faces up. This is the tool to do that. So basically, the tip is that it exists. I have these 2 lines. It's that easy. It takes a sketch. You project that sketch onto one face, and then it splits it up based on that sketch. Very simple, very easy. With those 2 lines using the split line command, I'm able to take one face and split it up into those. So very, very useful for simulation and a lot of other aspects of the tool as well. So split lines, breaking up your faces. Other aspect up 2 split lines. Maybe you're needing to do surface modeling and you want to split faces up. This is the tool to do that. So basically, the tip is that it exists. I have these 2 lines. It's that easy. It takes a sketch. You project that sketch onto one face, and then it splits it up based on that sketch. Very simple, very easy. With those 2 lines using the split line command, I'm able to take one face and split it up into those. So very, very useful for simulation and a lot of other aspects of the tool as well. So split lines, breaking up your faces. With mate. We already talked about this earlier where I showed you how you can quickly add it. Yes. So now I want to show you in detail a little bit more about the with mate, all right? Instead of just pre-selecting them like I was showing you earlier. So we click these 4 faces. With mate centers it, right? It's been added to the context menu recently. And it centers the geometry between those 4 faces. Sorry, I was doing a mid-plane earlier. This is the with mate, right? So it's the centering mate. And check this out. This is my favorite mate when I'm putting things, I'm lining them up. I like to use this one because it's very quick, very easy. It's all graphical. I don't need to go through digging for planes and center lines and things like that. Centers everything. But there's also a lot more extended capabilities in there. So when I am adding this mate, you can basically add limits to it too. So you can have limit with mate. So you can center it and say it can move 10 millimeters this way through this range or a particular percentage. So take a look at this. This has been a great mate for many, many years, and it's been added. The capabilities have been extended. So definitely check that one out. Hiding and showing components. This is a great way to, on the fly, hide components. So I hit the tab key to hide them or show them using the shift tab. Okay? So tab or shift tab is how you can do this. Here's tab. Just mouse over it, no clicking necessary. Whatever's directly under my mouse gets hidden. Now you do need to remember where that part was, so you can go back to it and hit shift tab, because it's got to be directly under your mouse, right? Shift tab gets right back into it, right? Tab to hide,
I spilled pulled pork everywhere.
and then shift tab to show hidden component. Now remember, it's got to be directly under your mouse. But if you want to show all hidden components, you can control shift tab, and on the fly, it'll show you all of the hidden components. So let's take a look at that. Here's what it's going to look like. On the left, I have the hidden components. On the right, it's showing me them in this blue, transparent way. So control shift tab, that's all it is. Control shift tab shows everything. On the right, it's showing me them in this blue, transparent way. So control shift tab, that's all it is. Control shift tab, it shows everything. So you can, on the fly, look at what's hidden, and then you can start to hold shift tab to show it again. Okay, so there's some tab to hide, shift tab to show, control shift tab to dynamically, on the fly, show everything that's been hidden. Rotate components. Just like the left mouse button moves components around the graphical area as long as it's allowed to, not made it in place, you can right mouse button on top of something and start to rotate it. All right, so showing you a quick way to do that. Here's left mouse, something we all know, but the right mouse button on the fly, as long as I right click, something we all know. All right, so showing you a quick way to do that. Here's left mouse, something we all know, but the right mouse button on the fly, as long as I right click and hold and drag over top of it, I can rotate my components. So I can easily start to pre-position them or move them around, right? Left click drags, right click rotates. Assembly visualization, definitely take a look at this tool to help you visualize graphically properties of your components, right? You can color code them based on properties, right? Is it a built part, purchased part, who made it? What's it made out of? I like to do graphics triangles. It's more of a performance thing. A lot of the work that we have to do is investigate where performance issues might be. So assembly visualization is a great way to color code your model and look at it graphically. Let's take a look at it. It's under the evaluate tool, hit assembly visualization, and I hit that color bar, and then it color codes everything. Blue is the bottom, red is the top, and I'm filtering based on total weight. If I want to change that, I hit the caret, and then now I'm looking at graphics triangles. So everything that's red is going to be super performance intensive.
Wow, fuck me then. Every time. Let's take my temperature.
And imagine doing this for who made the part, what it's made out of, other properties of the model. Okay? It's a good way to color code it and understand your model. Open top-level assembly. This is one of my favorites. It's one of the 4 filters down in the lower right-hand corner of the open dialog box. And it immediately opens whatever the top-level assembly is in your dialog box. Now, I know it makes sense that you can filter for assemblies and then just pick the biggest one, right? You'd think that'd be the top-level assembly, but that's not always the case. Most of the time it is, yes. But you could have stuff embedded in there. Just think virtual parts, for example, that might make a subassembly be larger. So this takes all of that guessing out of the equation. With one click, you can get directly into your top-level assembly. I use this all the time because I don't know which is the top-level assembly in here. I have one button to press, and it immediately brings me right to it. That's all the assemblies, but this is the top-level assembly, right? So you have these quick filters down in the lower right corner of the open dialog box for parts, assemblies, drawings, and the 4th one is open top-level assembly. All right? Show you that one more time. Lower right corner, I'm going to filter for assemblies. I get these 4 or 5. And the top-level assembly brings me directly to, without thinking anything of it, very quickly, the correct top-level assembly that I probably want to open. Control drag to copy. You can hold the control key and drag in the graphics area or on the feature tree to create copies of your components in an assembly. Very quickly making copies. Just control drag. Works from the tree, works from the graphics area. I need 2 more of these screws. Control, drag away to add multiple copies. I need a couple more. Just like that, I just added 7 of those very, very quickly. All right? Control drag to copy components. Now you have components that are transparent. How do you pick them, right? Transparent geometry is not selectable. You have to hold the shift key to be able to pick it, right? So here's how we can do that. Now, I have that bed of this transparent. Those arms are transparent. No matter how hard I try to pick that upright, it won't let me unless I hold the shift key. Right? Holding the shift key allows me to pick the transparent geometry like that. Here, no matter how hard I try, I can't pick the bed. As long as I hold the shift key, now I can pick transparent geometry. So there's a lot of functionality that's there with the control key, with the shift key, with the tab, right? So a good way to be modeling is probably one hand on your mouse and the left hand on the keyboard, right? You got the S key in there, you got control, shift, tab, the space bar, all these commands there at your fingertips. And the point is to just introduce you to them all. Now, isolating and display state. Isolating is a quick way to hide a component, show a component, and hide everything else. So whatever you pick, you isolate it. That's the only thing that's shown. But if you start doing that multiple times, you can capture that in what's called a display state. Okay, a display state saves things like colors or transparencies, hide items, shown items, things like that. So consider using display states as a way to capture that graphical information so you can quickly change between them. So here are these components. I want to isolate that. I right-click on it. I hit isolate. Now that's just the top portion of it. I hit save. That's saving a display state. So now I can quickly get back to that instead of having to go into that all the time, right? And where do display states live? Up at the top there. That caret shows me where my display states are. So now I can quickly get back to those, okay? And lastly, editing sketch plane on the fly. How many times do you dynamically go or deliberately go in there, hit edit sketch plane, you move it to a different plane, then you get errors or it's off to the side, right? If you hold the shift key and drag it from the tree, you can place it directly where you want, and you don't get it off in space and stuff, right? So let's take a look at this. Here I clicked on the sketch, edit sketch plane. If I wanted to reposition it, this is the way we teach you how to do it. This is the more straightforward way. I want to put it on that base face, click right there, hit OK, and it'll relocate that sketch, but it's going to be off to the side, or I'll get a rebuild error like that. OK. Now, if I want to do it dynamically, here's the tip. Hold the shift key and drag it. Okay, the second you press shift, you'll see drag it dynamically. Here's the tip. Hold the shift key and drag it. Okay, the second you press shift, you'll see it's no longer that crosshair, but now I'm changing the plane. So I can place it exactly where I want it, and it's going to start snapping to that plane. So hold shift, drag it on top of the face that you want. You could locate it there, any other face. Drop it right there. You're not getting any rebuild errors, and obviously you can go in and redimension it and do whatever you need to actually locate it properly, but you can do that on the fly and save yourself some of those rebuild errors. And lastly, if you have any questions, email me. I have multiple versions of this up on my YouTube channel. I love connecting with you guys on LinkedIn. Here's my information. Email me, reach out to me. I get emails every day about this. People see this stuff, asking questions. I'm more than happy to connect with you guys, and I love interacting with the community. So thank you all for joining me for this. I hope you learned something, at least one thing. All right, good. Thank you.
It was live. Of course it was live, obviously. So. This is like a lecture, I guess. Hey, I guessed the feature before I did it. That's useful. Oh, dangle them. Oh my god. Sick. How sick is that? Cheese.
Uno, Wild Jackpot, How to play. The rules are the same as regular Uno, except for these changes.
I'm still
For a
watching
refresher of those
tutorials.
rules, check out this video. Give each player an equal number of customizable rule cards. Set any extras aside. They will not be used. Erase any rules already written on them with a damp rag, then each player writes a fun, unique, or crazy rule on each of their customizable cards. Once finished, shuffle them, then load them into the card dispenser. Place the game unit in the middle of the table. A jackpot card may only be played on a matching color or matching jackpot card. A wild jackpot card is a wild that may be played on any other card. Then you pick the color that resumes play. When you play a jackpot or any other jackpot card. A wild jackpot card is a wild that may be played on any other card. Then you pick the color that resumes play. When you play a jackpot or wild jackpot card, you must pull the lever on the game unit and follow the instructions for the symbol that the arrow lands on. The symbols are: custom rule. Pick one player, including yourself, to press the button on the game unit to spit out a customized rule card. That player must perform the rule written on the card if possible. Custom rule right and custom rule left. The player to either your right or left, as indicated by the arrow, must draw a custom rule card and perform the rule. Custom rule all. Every player, starting with you, must draw a custom rule card and perform it. Discard colors. You may discard up to one card of each color from your hand to the discard. You may discard the cards in any order, ignoring the discard requirement. You may not discard wilds as colors. Any action cards discarded will only affect the next player in turn order. Draw 4. You must draw 4 cards. After spinning the jackpot and following the symbol, your turn ends. If you perform a custom rule, then place that rule card behind the game unit. If ever you run out of rule cards in the game unit, shuffle the rule cards behind the unit and reload the tray. If a wild jackpot card, or jackpot card, is the first card flipped at the beginning of the game, then the player to the left of the dealer picks any player. That player must then take a rule card and perform the rule before the game can begin. At the end of the game, jackpot cards are worth 40 points each, and wild jackpot cards are worth 50.
Why not 5 look like that?
And wild jackpot cards are worth 50.
They give you marinated in a like a piece of meat, like a long piece of meat in your anal cavity. It could ever like not like think it could ever taste good. Like just like keep it in there. Like take it out when you have to use it to do the business, but then put it back in and then just marinate it in there. It's like a pretty high. It's like a slow cooker. You know what I'm saying?
This is a bubble eye goldfish. It's one of the few goldfish breeds that I'm really against the breeding of. They've been selectively bred to have these very large fluid-filled sacs right beneath their eyes, and it makes it very hard for them to see properly and makes it hard for them to swim properly too. And they're extremely delicate. These fluid-filled sacs can easily get popped, get infected, and hurt the goldfish. I'm okay with breeding for aesthetic features to a degree, but when those aesthetic features make it nearly impossible for the goldfish to live a decent life and are blocking their vision, blocking their swimming, and make it just a hazard in every situation, I'm against it. This is goldfish breeding taken too far in my opinion. This is a bubble eye goldfish.
I thought that was a natural. Yeah, that's stupid.
Here is how I built a machine that can do patterns in sand, and that's using parts from a 3D printer. I cut parts out of wood and painted it brown. I then assembled it and painted it white. Here I'm adding the top ring, but I almost dropped it. I'm taking parts from this 3D printer. It works by moving a magnet on the bottom with this X and Y gantry. Then you have a steel ball that moves around on sand by sending programs to the 3D printer computer to move it around. There are RGB lights on the inside, which is why the color keeps changing. It's funny to think about how much work the machine is doing, but then I'm asking it to remove it and start all over. So here are some of the patterns it can do. Here is how I built a machine that can do patterns in sand, and that's using parts from a 3D printer. I cut parts out of wood and painted it brown. I then assembled it and painted it white.
If you made something like that, and like, you can make some crazy things, and like, it could look like make things that look like you did it by hand, but then didn't. Like, I'm thinking like a background of like a crazy looking video game. Like, you make a bunch of those and it's like, whoa, you did, looks like you did it by, it looks like cool because it looks like you did by hand or something. Or it just looks cool, like very natural. Did you, please don't tell me you named your dog Cash 2.0 because the first Cash died.
What's his name?
His name is Cash.
Cash?
Yeah.
With a K?
With a C.
Oh, you're just a gentle guy.
Let's see. I think that there's a little less excitement now, so we'll see how he does without the leash, but I'll clip him if I see any problems.
Oh.
We've tried a couple times. The last time I brought him, it was like, okay, we brought him a few times. Nobody.
Wonder where the rest of the group is. I thought we'd have more people.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's gonna be fine.
That's still fun to get out here.
You bet. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Okay.
That's a chill dude. Another big dog. What the hell?
Alright, nice to meet you.
Two. Come here, Cash. Come on. What a good boy you are.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, I want Oswald to be this tall. Get that tall. That's how tall I need you to be. No, not standing on your back feet. Thanks for displaying.
You looking for your daddy, Cash? I'm right over here. Big happy boy. Oh, here's Max.
I got bad knees.
Max. Good to see you again, Max. Oh, what a good boy you are. Is he a good boy?
He said, do you want a baby brother this big?
Whoa. Oh, you got a little cherry eye going on there. Hi, honey. Oh, sorry.
I love this breed.
This is really okay. That way he was with a hand like when he touched it. And he's Labrador. Alright. He thought it's tough. I've never even seen him go through.
Ooh, that's a nice looking dog.
He's
So,
always been very athletic.
my dad would like.
Like if he was a kid, I would think he'd be the football player, the
And I
quarterback.
do too.
Very agile.
I like all the breeds I keep.
My mom had a Labrador. She thought it was a Labrador.
This is a contender for a dog I would get.
My
Honestly.
mom came home one day and said, I want this dog I found the box at my room. I'm like, who are you? Look at my mother. She never wanted a dog, ever. Dad was the one we had to go to. To get one.
Puppy.
And we get this dog.
Cash keeps photobombing me here. He says, Daddy, I want to be in the picture. Why are you photographing those other dogs?
Eventually, my mom couldn't take care of the dog anymore. Well, I had moved out, my sister moved in, my mom's health wasn't great.
Is he peeing or pooping?
Okay.
Go, go.
And a buddy of mine,
Ready, go.
we were home, we wanted to buy a house.
Oh, I get it.
Exactly the same. Catch 2.0. Black and
Oh, I can't see anything though. Get that shit out of its face. Another nice breed. My eyes are dry. This guy's like a genius, like you can tell. I bet he has a full Twitter. Cool. Creature. I like to be good at making clay. Good at clay. Guess it's the musician for the Hilux game.
Stop it! What? Stop it!
That a lot of people are going to skip right.
I like this guy.
20 minutes to call you.
Hell? What the fuck?
Writing a viral song nowadays just involves picking an object or a trend and writing some object or a trend and writing some pseudo clever
myself, yeah that's right, I shit my pants. Diaper full of feces and it's stinking cause I shit my pants. No cap, I defecated with my jeans around my waist, smelling like a porta potty with a big smile on my face. I just poop.
Use code ninja. You think it's 20 something. It's only been 3 hours. I need the phone. I'm stopping. Hello. Darn it. I didn't see the messages. I wish I could see when this was sent. Just a bit ago. You're not here anymore. I was just watching a tutorial. I'm sick. That's why I need a second monitor so I can see messages. Excuse me. This is just nothing. What the F is that music? I don't know, boy. I don't know, boy. You tell me. This is just nothing. I was just messing around. I was watching this. Watching some tips.
Cubic in.
No, not this. I already closed it. An hour long. 60 tips in 60 minutes. I'm gonna go offline. I have a bunch of things favorited. I need to rest. See ya. I'll be back with it. I'm just gonna stop for a sec.